Welcome back. This is the Crooked Cuomo Challenge. Hi, I'm Brendan Borman, and this is 270 Videos. Today I'll be playing as the worst candidate in the entire game, taking on an opponent in the public lobby with an S-tier candidate. We have a George Washington on a 2-minute timer with that green symbol. I forget what it's called exactly, but that shows he's an experienced player. We have Cliff Joing, if I'm saying that correctly. Good luck to my opponent. And so I will be at a severe disadvantage candidate-wise. Can I pull off this challenge on the first attempt? Let's see. Let's take a look again at George Washington. He does not have a vice president. 40% national groups, really high manufacturing, really high agriculture, a great Old South opening, plays way better out of Texas than in California. And of course, I have penalties everywhere. National groups, not likely. I could go for Democratic national groups if I want to. So let's do that with labor and environment. Even if our opponent does the same, we will still be at a disadvantage cash-wise. At least this way, maybe I can have more pure cash, which might give me more flexibility in the big, expensive states like Texas, California, New York. However, we have George Washington, who is going to go big conservative, and so we are going to skip. We have labor and environment. We could, with this extra $100,000, put it into Florida, but I do not want to commit any cash without a game plan. Now, I do have minimal penalties in some of the Democratic groups, like a 5% high-tech penalty and a 5% African-American penalty. So maybe Oasis would be a great strategy. Maybe New York could be a solid strategy as well, but I cannot let Washington have Texas and manufacturing uncontested, especially Illinois and like a Michigan, taking away some of our high-tech routes, give him Latino. So I have to be mindful. Now, I'm not going to be able to prevent him from everything. And so let's go ahead and go into New York. We are going to double pip into Massachusetts and New York. We're single pipping into New Hampshire. My thought process there is potentially if Washington is trying to block us, maybe he might single pip, and if we double pip, we can have that cash advantage, although that's a very, very, very minimal chance. I wanted to give myself that. And so it looks like he is going to spend $250,000 by spending up in national groups. He is going to complete his gun lobby bonus. And so now on turn number 4, we can get our town and gown bonus. We only have $95,000. So if we go into Utah, we only have $75,000 left. And that's not enough to go in, like, let's say, a Pennsylvania and Michigan combination to get high tech on the next turn. So let's open up into Arizona instead, just in case our opponent does decide to go for swing states or decides to pressure us in our town and gown. Let's see here. Washington is only spending $150, so that's likely just going to be in his evangelical group, which will finalize his national groups. So we don't want to go in youth vote or women's movement. We have an open Texas and California. I could maybe go for a clash in a big state like Texas. The problem is if I spend 1 pip in Texas and he goes 2, that's almost a complete waste of money. Vice versa with California. He's likely going to go 1 pip in one of the states and 2 pips in the other. He also could just prioritize Texas and go double Texas, open up manufacturing or open up oil and gas. Washington is not a great oil and gas candidate, but it looks like he decided to double pip California. He did spend $674. He did already pressure Arizona, so it's likely, okay, Illinois, that'd be 74 with 50 plus 24, Arizona plus Illinois. Likely here's the Texas spin, so that's it for Washington. So he will not have a path to manufacturing on turn number 6. He likely won't have another bonus for a couple turns, but he'll be in line for some big bonuses. So now I have to decide if I want to complete my high-tech bonus. The answer is yes. So let's do that first. We're going to go in Delaware, Connecticut, Virginia, North Carolina, D.C., Arizona. We're going to go to the 4th PIP using our town and gown bonus, but we did save $40,000 behind because Utah is definitely necessary. And then I have $23,000. I'm going to open up into Mississippi. I would not have to do this for my African-American push. I'm already going to have my Old South bonus with the classic Old South route. However, just giving myself one more state in case I face pressure, like in North Carolina. I am facing pressure in Connecticut, which probably is actually a really smart move in terms of Washington. He's going to force me to guess where he might be trying to attack my high-tech bonus. He did not come at me in Michigan, which I think is a mistake because that manufacturing bonus is such a key bonus for Washington, and Michigan can be a universal really mesh point for a lot of the bonuses. We do get the African American bonus, which is $95,000, high tech, which is also $95,000, and then an Old South bonus is $45,000. So we're up to our 4 state group bonuses plus our labor and environment. We can go up in Washington, and then Pennsylvania will give us another access to that high tech. Using my town and gown extra money, I will put that into Arizona. I do want to get into Illinois. That will allow me to possibly prevent manufacturing if he doesn't expand pretty quickly, but also Latino because he will have to put his money into California and Texas. And then just doing the quick math here, if he spends the bare minimum in Texas and in California, he goes up in Illinois for Latino. If he puts the rest of the money in Connecticut, he would have this much money in Connecticut. So going up $15,000, $30,000, $45,000, $60,000, $75,000, $90,000. And so I will go up to that PIP. I'm saving behind $125,000. I did also go up in Georgia. Georgia is African American. It's also swing. We did not get into Florida to the 2nd PIP. We just went 1 PIP. And so that 2 PIP spend by Washington is going to give him the inside path for several bonuses, but also prevent us from maybe the swing state bonus unless we are able to really take that. We will have pretty much AA the entire game to combat Florida. But we're likely not going to be able to win both of Illinois and Florida. So let's just put our high-tech money into Pennsylvania, open up in Tennessee, and then I have a few more export states I can go into. I have swing states of Nevada and Wisconsin. Manufacturing still, I'm very, very surprised that Washington is not expanding a little bit more into the manufacturing states. Of course, he prioritized the national groups, and it takes a little bit of time to go up in both California and Texas. And instead of living out of Texas, he really wanted California. So I don't blame the strategy. I'm just a little bit surprised. California is maybe potentially a state we can steal in the future. Texas is probably nowhere in range. Let's go into Iowa with my town and gown money before we hit the button. There's really no reason to spend my Old South money or all of my town and gown money this turn, just in case I face pressure in other key states like Massachusetts, Utah, or a New York. Washington is going up to the 3rd PIP in Illinois. He also is in other oil and gas and Latino states like Colorado already. See if he gets into New Mexico. He does. We have a clash in Ohio, so now he has access to potentially get that manufacturing bonus should he go up in Ohio and keep Illinois. He's also pressuring me in Virginia, Washington, and we do get Wisconsin uncontested on turn 8, which is interesting. That's another state you think with that really high ag bonus, with swing states being up in the air until this turn when we just secured it. You would think that Washington would pretty much get into Wisconsin as early as possible. We're going to spend 3 pips up to the 3rd pip in Wisconsin as well as Nevada. Arizona, do we want to lock it? Do we want to use AA money? Do we want to use town and gown money? Let's go up in North Carolina first. We're going to spend up in Virginia. We're not going to quite lock either of those. However, the 3rd pip in Washington will allow us to potentially lose another state in high tech and keep the bonus. We're also going up into the state of Minnesota to maybe combat his ag. Although it's going to be hard to take ag away unless we take away California, so never mind. But we also have the town and gown bonus working toward that state. We're in Alabama, Mississippi, and South Carolina, so we don't need to spend up there because our AA money is pretty safe. Plus, if you're Washington, you're probably going to be spending in Florida. So if he's spending on defense, we don't need to spend on defense. If he's attacking us, he's going to have to spend a lot, and he did not defend our Illinois steal. So Illinois is stolen. That will very likely prevent manufacturing. However, Washington decides to spend up to the 10th pip and lock Michigan. So Michigan has turned green. That we will keep the high-tech bonus unless we do lose Pennsylvania, which I don't see that happening. He would actually need more than just Pennsylvania. He would need Pennsylvania plus, and he's not even going to get Pennsylvania. So high-tech is safe. Manufacturing has been prevented. We do have a really high EV lead, although as the turns continue to tick along, Washington is going to get a little bit more pure cash. We have not gone for Florida yet. I could go here and just really force him to overspend next turn in Florida. But I don't want to do that and signal to him. I think Illinois is not really an auto lock in this spot, but I do think that as a Washington player, I think that would be the first state I would try to steal, either a North Carolina or an Illinois. So we're going to lock both of those. We're going up in Tennessee, and we're going up in Kentucky and Indiana. I don't know if that's the right play or not, but what this allows us to do is potentially get the manufacturing bonus via Hangman. This could be an overspend, which would really bring my opponent back into the fray. Right now, I say we have about a half turn to a full turn advantage bonus-wise, plus we're in more states. And so a ballot would be advantageous for us, hence why we are locking a few more states on this turn. We have Alaska double pip. Arizona is locked by Cuomo. Illinois, he did spend a little bit of money, but we did lock it. Not much, however. Ohio is going to be huge here. Let's see, North Carolina is nothing. I kind of wish he had gone for North Carolina, but he did not. He is double pipping a lot of the oil states. Ohio is to the 3rd pip. Pennsylvania is stolen and is to the 8th pip. So we did reduce it enough to allow us to go up in Tennessee to the 3rd pip. However, we would not have been able to keep our Indiana and Kentucky and Tennessee investments without coming down in Pennsylvania. So there was really no world we keep Pennsylvania unless we decide to lock it or spend up. I did have the 8th pip in my range of outcomes, but I did not quite pull the trigger. I'm also going to invest my money on turn number 11 into empty states up to the 2nd pip. I'm also going to attack Washington in some of his soft leads with 1 pip. I do think a ballot, again, would be the best thing for us. We do have a potential to lose a couple bonuses, but nothing really outlandish as far as detrimental to the game. It's more about electors at this point. I'm going to lock Virginia. just to also get us closer to that 100 EV threshold, which would trigger a ballot. Let's see here. We have a little bit of high-tech money. I do not want to put that into Pennsylvania. I could spend it in Washington. Let's go ahead and do that here. Just protect those 12 EVs. If he does flip pretty much anything with Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, that will flip the high-tech bonus in his favor for the rest of the game. I don't know how consequential that would be because New York is pretty protected. We already have Virginia either locked this turn, or we have AA and Old South to protect Maryland. He's not attacking us so far in any of the open states. So we are going to be moving toward a ballot. Clash in Nebraska. Okay. So that will prevent a ballot for at least a turn. There's the flip in high-tech. What did he take? He took Washington. So he did go all the way to the 9th pip in Washington. That was a good steal. We do want a ballot, so we are going to invest in West Virginia and Nebraska again. We're only going to do the minimum with 1 pip. All bonuses have been allotted. We have 4 state groups to Washington's 6. Washington has 3 national groups to our 1 national group. So again, the more bonuses, the more money, the longer you want the game to go. Washington would like this game to drag out. I would like this game to end. So we are going to take a soft lead in Rhode Island to hopefully flip those 4 EVs in our favor. We are trying to, fingers crossed, avoid conflict in Nebraska and West Virginia. We have a Florida steal, which is successful. That puts us above 300 electors. A huge clash in Iowa. So 6 electors will stay blue. Massachusetts, we have Washington creeping up by 1 pip. We do have in New Hampshire entrance to the 2nd pip. New Jersey will stay green. New Mexico is locked. Those 5 electors will stay with Washington. And Ohio is a big spend. He does have that manufacturing money. And then Rhode Island gets to the 3rd pip. And let's go ahead and skip. We did not have any clashes on Nebraska or West Virginia, which means we do have a ballot round. We have 1 minute and 5 seconds to talk through this. We only have 4 bonuses. We have our African American money, which can be defended in Georgia and in Louisiana. We have our town and gown money, which can be used to attack in Minnesota, North Dakota, or in Rhode Island. It can be used to defend in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Iowa, Wisconsin. He has got to put his manufacturing money somewhere. So let's do the quick math here. He gets just over $100,000. That should be a good breaking even point if he just spends his money from his bonus. I think he's got oil and gas money that he could put in Louisiana. So let's just use our AA and our Old South money to secure and lock it. If he does go for Georgia, that's going to be an expensive steal. So let's kind of leave that alone. I have these oil and gas states, which I'm going to attack. Let's see. I've got 5 seconds anywhere I can put this. I can't go for... man. Okay, so I should have put it maybe in a state like a Massachusetts or a Oregon, like a high EV state. I don't think it's going to matter, but I hate to leave money on the table, and I wasted $50,000. However, our small steals have been working so far. We guessed wrong in Louisiana, and so that's a pretty big waste of money, and those 11 EVs really hurt in Massachusetts. We could have prevented that. We did not see the New Hampshire steal coming, but we just basically trade that right back for Rhode Island. South Dakota, we went for it, and he blocked it. Big spend in Wisconsin, except he only spent a little bit. Where does money go? Interesting. Okay, so he only spent a couple pips. He must have really gone for Florida. He thought we were going to defend Florida, so... that's tough if you're Washington. Do you just barely go for it? Do you go for it all out and hope I spend? Do you just go for me other places? Luckily for us, we were able to create a ballot round before Washington won it, and that gave us a little bit of a tactical advantage. Good game, Khalif Drawing, but that was the Crooked Cuomo challenge. It only took us one attempt. Thank you for the suggestion for the player who did in my Discord channel, and until the next one, have a good day, guys.